We are live on Facebook.
Yeah, so welcome to everybody. I guess what I can do is probably go on to Facebook Live. So everybody, if you're on Facebook Live, this is Lynn Miner-Rosen, and I also am joined here by Mark Halpert, even though it says Myra Halpert. And Mark is here from 3D Learner, and we are trying out Facebook Live. And I'm so happy to have him as a guest. And while he's going to tell you, Mark, you'll tell everybody about 3D Learner, where you're located, what you guys do, and explain to Facebook Live. I'm going to try to see if I can find Facebook Live on my phone, and then we can see if people are sending us messages.
Who's joining and what they're saying. Okay.
Yeah, so
my
here
name's
we are.
One. Thank you very much to Lynn Miner-Rosen, who's the head of a group called APN, where I first met her, okay, which is a group for ADHD professionals here in Boca Raton. And 3D Learner was really, the idea was formed 22 years ago when they told our then 8th grade daughter she wasn't college material, and we basically said no thanks. And my wife, who's got her master's in teaching the gifted and talented, developed what's become known as the 3D Learner program that helps the kid who learns best when they see and experience information to improve their reading comprehension, math, writing, attention, visual processing, self-esteem, self-advocacy, and some more things. And we've helped a couple of thousand kids. And the profile of our kids are smart kids who learn differently, whose results are nowhere near as good as they could be. And our goal is to have them succeed in months, not years.
That's great. So how long ago did you start 3D Learner?
So 3D Learner was born almost 20 years ago. Be 20 years on July 1st.
Wow. And both you and your wife together
Yes.
formed it?
Yes, and we've survived it.
That's great. So tell me about things that parents might want to know about the kinds of things that you can do to help their kids at 3D Learner.
Okay. First, the average parent we meet is really frustrated. They've been going through maybe 3, 5, or one mom today, 8 years of pure struggles. They're smart. They have a smart kid, but their kid's not performing near their potential. And one of the first things we want to do is help a parent to understand that most smart, struggling kids, actually 65% of all kids, learn differently than the way schools teach. Schools teach in a very logical, sequential, and auditory way. Our kids learn in a very visual, experiential way. So our first goal is to help the parents realize, is that your kid? Do you have a visual, experiential, what we call right brain learner? Then the question is, does a kid have an attention or visual processing issue, which is almost occurs at epidemic proportions in this population? And then our third goal is to say to the parent, let us give you advice. We do this all for free, where what you can do for your child. And we offer we actually offer an online assessment that screens for learning difference, attention, and vision issues at 3dlearner.com/assessment. And then we offer in Boca Raton, Florida, a program that's hands-on. It's integrated, so we deal with reading, we deal with attention, we deal with visual processing, we deal with calming anxiety and all that. And we also help parents be the coach and advocate their child needs.
That's great. So you give the parents advice and tips that they can use at home?
Yeah, I'm a recovering screamaholic, so I understand that parents have, the level of frustration of raising a smart kid who's not performing up to their potential can somehow cause incredible anxiety in both the kids and the parents. And we used to teach the kids how to stay calm. And one day a parent said to me, I tried some of that stuff on myself and it really worked. So we started helping the parents to be calm too. When the parents, we even had a gentleman in Singapore who used to cane his kid every day. And he said to me, I stopped when I heard what you had to say about becoming a recovering screamaholic and how it not only helps your kid, but it helps you and it helps the whole family dynamics.
Yeah, that's a big thing. So what age do you start, or what's the youngest person you've had at 3D Learner that you've been helping?
Except for my grandson, we started helping at 1. The youngest child we've helped is 4. Okay. And we've actually had a rash of 4, 5, and 6-year-olds this year, because if you can get off to a solid start, you can do much better in school. But really, it's gone through, we've helped kids who are 15, 18, 20, 32, 53. Our oldest client's been 68. But the predominant 68 number are between the ages of 5 and 19.
Okay. So the majority of the people that come into your office or seek help are between 5 and 18, would you
Yeah,
say?
5 and 18. Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be right.
So in terms of, let's look at like the main subjects, reading and math.
Okay.
What do you help the most, or do you help them both equally?
We actually help them both equally because while half of our kids are good at arithmetic, only two parents out of 30,000 have filled out our online assessment said their kid was good at math word problems. They were both wrong. So really, when you think about math, math used to be about math, and now it's about arithmetic. Now it's about word problems. And so we help both, but we really, reading comprehension is really the key. We hear so often that somebody will tell me a kid's reading at the ninth grade level. This happens a lot with teenagers, but turns out they're reading. When somebody says somebody's reading at the ninth grade level, it means they're reading or decoding. So I can read a passage. I can read Hebrew probably at the 13th grade level and probably understand at the first. So it's not unusual, and we focus on comprehension. But rather than, somebody says to me things like, you have to learn reading by sounding out words. And I go, really? You can actually, a kid who learns differently must be able to sound out words, but he's got to understand those small words: what, where, but, what, if, and the. And it also has to be able to recognize words he's previously seen before. But here's the key: if a visual learner learns how to visualize what they're reading becomes fun, and they like it, and they can remember what they read. The other thing, which is common, is these kids skip words and lines at just epidemic proportions, and nobody knows it's what I call the invisible disability. So we have a tool we use called the Visograph, which actually shows how the eyes track, and it often shows significant issue. And then we use the interactive metronome, which both assesses for attention as well as improves attention. So we wind up with kids with both reading comprehension going up 2, 3, 4 grade levels in a 4 to 6 month period, and math grades. I like to get fired as a math tutor because a kid all of a sudden says, I know how to do the problems, I know how to check my work, thank you very much, I'm on my own. So
that's great. I mean, I think it's really unique, the work that you're doing, and it's really important. So tell me about like organization, how you think that's affecting kids, and is that something that you work on at 3D Learner?
It is, but we also like to have coaches like you out there that can actually put the bow on the system, okay? Yeah. But what we realize is when it comes to organization, these kids often don't know how to be organized. And the question when you say what sequence do you do things, they actually don't have one. So virtually everything we do is visual. So we'll start with a visual schedule for a kid. And we did it with my own son. I was taking him to camp and he was always late. So I created a visual schedule with 7 steps. And every morning, the first morning, actually, he did that. He finished the 7 steps perfectly. And I realized, Dad, you better add step 8. You better have him tie his shoes too. Okay. So you make sure that the kid's got a visual checklist for what he's got to do, because these kids have no clue where to start or whether they're done or not. And then you've got to
What's
teach.
the visual checklist? You mean like it's drawn a picture of it?
Well, no, it might be a list, and another time I'll show it. You actually have a list of, let's say, 8 items on an easel-like sheet where you can erase it. And so you list item number 1 and item number 2 and item number 3. And when the kid gets done with them, especially when they're younger, they cross them off. And it shows them where they're at. And it shows them, what they have left to do. And then we also tell the parents, by the way, if you're going to do 2 hours of homework, you better have a break every 15, 20 minutes. So you actually schedule breaks. And then we also change a word, and we hate the word, if you don't do this, I'm going to take something away, because the kid automatically pictures it's gone. And then he acts accordingly. So we use the word when you get this done by 5:30, you can go out and skateboard. Now the kid pictures himself skateboarding by 5:30, and he acts accordingly and tries to get his work done by that time.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a true thing. And we use that in coaching too, that it's so important to have that positive incentive as opposed to a negative incentive, which doesn't work. So what else can you tell us about what you share with parents that you can help them with.
Okay, so one of the major things we share with parents is you can't rely for a kid who's a visual learner. You actually can't rely on the schools to do what they do. I know it's not politically correct, so I'll say it a slightly different way. If you told the schools that to help my daughter, I'll give you $1 million if you could help her succeed, rather than holding something to their head, they actually don't know what to do for these kids. Mm-hmm. So you actually have to figure out, parents first, how does your kid learn? Because if your kid learns in a typical way, as one of my daughters did, you can have her write the spelling words 5 times. You can have her alphabetize them. You can have her use them in a sentence, and she'll understand them. But if your kid learns differently, forget it. They may not remember the words. So the first thing you want to know is, does your kid learn differently? Second of all, you want to know whether the kid's got an attention issue. This is one of the checklists we use on our online assessment is have it. And then the third one, which is really critical, is your kid have a vision problem. And I don't mean by vision by 20/20. I mean, does your kid skip words and lines when reading, or his eyes get tired? And we've often have kids, we'll get to one of the questions on the test, do you ever see double? And the kid says, yeah. And the mom says, you're in 5th grade. Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And the kid says, I didn't know everybody else doesn't see double too. You mean you don't see double, Mom? And so there's no concept of whether that issue exists or not. Yeah. So if parents got a smart, struggling kid, they can just go to 3dlearner.com/assessment and know within 20 minutes whether the kid learns differently, has an attention issue, or has an eye teaming issue.
That's great. I just want to stop you for 1 second because we have an audience.
Terrific.
2 people that have joined us. So say hello to Jenna. Jenna is a fellow ADHD coach, and Jenna works with the ACO, the ADHD Coaches Organization, and she's working so hard to get certified as a coach. And awesome. I see Stephen Rosen also has joined us. So it's really nice to have people coming on.
Does anybody have any questions? How can they ask questions?
Actually, Jenna, there's a little bit of a time lag, but Jenna has typed in that something was very important, that she has ADHD, and she also works with her clients with ADHD, and that her clients, the information is very helpful for her clients.
Terrific.
Yeah. So so happy that you guys are here. Oh, and my sister-in-law, Lisa Shemish, has joined us. So there's a little bit of a time lag. And hi, everybody. We're just testing out Facebook Live. And this is Mark Halpert. He's joining us from 3D Learner in Boca Raton. And he does some amazing work with students from ages 5 through 18. But I also see that you work with college students too as well, Mark. So
yes, we do.
What kinds of things do you do for the college students?
Well, for the college student, it's very similar things, but it's much more about unraveling what hasn't happened in the last 15 years. Because the college students often stumbled through school. They may have actually gotten through high school okay, but they get to college and they have 2 problems. They have a problem with maybe reading and math and attention, and then they have a problem with managing life. And so we can actually help deal with the reading, writing, attention, eye tracking. So we do very similar things. But then we flip it over to somebody like you. And why don't you describe what you do for college kids?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I work with them usually on the Zoom format, which is similar to what we're doing right now, video conferencing all over the country, and really work with the college students on what their goals are. So it could be getting more organized, or managing their time, or using a planner. It could be just trying to find the best place to study. I had one client that, he was part of a fraternity, and it was a challenge every day. We would try every week we'd try a different place. Where's the best place to study with the least amount of distractions? And sometimes it could even be, more distractions. So it's really working with the students on, and it could be even life skills as far as their diet and sleep and exercise, and finding that balance between schoolwork and having a life, and having free time also. So
what we found with
reading and writing, it's all those other things.
Right. What we found is kids should go to the college, especially if they have a disability, they should go to the college disabilities office. But having an ADHD coach like you is far different.
Yeah. And I do a lot of work with them on helping them to be self-advocates.
Sure.
Because often they don't know who to go to or who to talk to. And there is still some stigma with ADHD as far as going to a disability office. So it's really educating about what it is and, where their challenges are. Thank you very much. Lisa told us that we were doing a great job. Thank you, Lisa. Our first Facebook Live. We're really excited about trying this out, and Mark and I are doing this, and hopefully we'll have a lot more interesting interviews and other people. And Jenna wants to know what your website is again, Mark.
www.3dlearner.com. Okay. And if anybody wants to, there's also a book available there, which you won't be surprised by the name.
Oh, I have the book right here.
The 3D Learner.
Is it backwards? I think it's
it's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so the 3D Learner is Mark's
what it says,
book.
From stress to outrageous success for your child, because part of what we recognize, we've had kids who've been told they're not going to get into this private school, they're not going to get into this, and they wound up at MIT and Harvard. So the truth of the matter is we look at these right brain learners as 300-watt bulbs that can actually shine incredibly brightly if they have the educational help. And then as they get in life, having an ADHD coach like you, because it's more than about one professional usually that can make the difference for the kid.
Yeah. And thank you for that. We're going to share also this video on other websites, and we're going to do other question and answer videos. So is there one thing that you really want to share with us as we close? Is there something that you want to really get out to the audience and share with us?
Yes, for probably 85 or 90% of the kids who are struggling in school today learn differently. And it's really important to understand that right brain or visual learner and to be that advocate, okay, that says, I believe in my kid. I'm going to find the right professionals. I'm going to support my kid, and I'm going to be a calm and collaborative supporter, because when you stay calm and you stay focused, and the last thing I'll say is reading comprehension turns out to be the key. Don't be fooled by reading fluency, how well a kid reads out loud. It's often misleading. Focus a lot on comprehension. Find out where your kid's at, and then set a goal for your kid. How am I going to get my kid from point A to point B? And then find the right professional that can help you.
And can I add to that another bit of advice for parents is,
sure,
in this age of cell phones and all kinds of computers, it's so important to be a great role model for your kids. And I was a special education teacher for 12 years. And one of the things I used to say to parents to get your kids to read is to read with them, is to have time in your home where there is no computers, no TVs, even if it's just for 45 minutes, and where everybody in the family is reading, whether it's a newspaper or a magazine, or if you're all sitting on the bed in the bedroom, that's fine, as long as there's just solid family time where the kids see you reading as well.
And that's critical. And if you have a younger kid who's really struggling with that, you read 4 pages out of 5 at first and migrate them up to the point where they can do more. But make it fun and pick books they like. Pick books on subjects that engage them. So, terrific advice.
So this was great. And again, it was fun. All of you viewers out there, we're going to be doing more Facebook Lives. If there's something that you want to hear more about, if there's a topic that you want us to talk about, I'm going to be interviewing a lot of other types of professionals and posting it here, posting it on other websites. And we love interaction. So please share this with everybody that you know, share it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We're really happy about that. And we will be back maybe next week with another interview. So have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much, Lynn.
Okay.
Bye.